because of my family and friends and people I know, and plus another part of me being here is I think it's therapeutic for me. My parents that I took care of over the last 20 years, this is where we'd come shopping, even though we were 14 miles to the next town or whatever, and living further. This is the main hub where all the shopping is and stuff, And I mean, sure, there's convenience stores in the other little towns, but this is where all the main big stuff is. So I feel more at home here, and with having so many deaths in the last 3 years, having 10 people really close to me die, it's kind of rattled me a little bit. It's very emotional, and it's different as you get older, and when you get older, and from my experience now, all these people that have passed away that were really close to me, and here I am alone in this camper. It's really tough sometimes. It's like, all these people that you grew up with and stuff, to think that they're passed on or they're not alive on this planet. Just weird. It's different, but it's part of life. It is what it is. But I know it's easy to accept it, even though you gotta. But they all still live on in my memories. I met my parents, my karate master, all that stuff. They'll live on through me because I learned all this stuff from them, and I keep sharing it out. And now I'm sharing it to a much bigger crowd, and that makes the Lord happy. I'm pretty sure. Believe me, if I didn't feel called by God to do this channel, I wouldn't be doing it right now. I don't think, because I was not liking being on camera. And I was talking to one of the pastors and telling him, all this calling that I'm feeling, about stuff. And when we talked last week, I had a talk with him about stuff, and was telling him some stories and some of the new people I met and experiences and stuff. And I just want to spend time with him, And he's busy too, but I don't know, because of whatever it is I'm feeling, or that I've been feeling called to talk to these pastors. And I told him I don't, because he asked me why I like talking to him or whatever, and I said, I don't have an answer for you. I like talking to you. And if you're ever busy or that, I don't want to slow down your schedule either, but if you're okay with hanging out with me, and he does, he is. But yeah, we had a nice talk, and then he threw a loop at me. Because I've told the different pastors I've talked to, I said, I don't want to be up on stage preaching and stuff. I ain't no preacher or pastor, And they smile right away. And I'm like, no. I said, I'm like, I hope that ain't what God wants me to do, And I have my YouTube channel here. This was hard for me to do. And here I have the accessibility to billions of people that can see, if they decide to watch this channel, can see me, learn who I am and stuff, and see my faith or whatever, and I can spread it that way. But then I don't feel like I have even though it's a bigger, could be potentially, you end up being a much bigger crowd. It's not all around me, in front of me. It's not as intimidating when it's just a camera. And the camera was intimidating, but it's getting less intimidating. But then anyway, so we were talking, and after we were done talking, he's kind of keeping an eye on the time and stuff. And I told him, anytime you got to go, I don't want to slow down your day too much, but as long as you've got time, I'd love to keep BS in here, and talking about stuff and God and whatever, and different stories. And when it got closer to the time, he says, all right. And he says to me, all right, why don't you pray us out? And I was like, oh no. And he says, you can do it. And it just even though it was just me and him, I just felt so pressured. And I started laughing too, because I was like, oh no. And my nervousness came out of me, and I started laughing. That was another thing I used to do when I was a kid. And I got in trouble for it in school, when I'd get in trouble in the office, is because of the intensity, and I knew I was in trouble or something. My nervousness, I would laugh because I didn't want to cry in front of people, So yeah, so and even though I can be tough, I'm also a softie, and I can be emotional too, depending on what I got going on. But so when he said, all right, why don't you pray us out? I was like, oh! And I just started laughing. I was like, no. He says, you can do it, you know. And I did. And I don't remember what I said. It was kind of short. And I just basically thanked the Lord for the pastor being in my life, and that we got to sit there and spend some time together and share time talking with each other and stuff. And I thank you for that, Lord. And we both said amen. He said, see? He said, that wasn't hard, was it? He says, it don't have to be long or complex, you know. So then after that, after I said goodbye to him and stuff and thanked everybody in the church and said goodbye to all of them and stuff, when I walked out the door, I started getting scared again. I was like, I wonder if he's trying to groom me. Oh no, don't throw me up in front of people. I don't think so. I like goofing around though. Anyway, so I don't know how many videos this is going to be, but these ones here, I've been labeling them nighttime recordings. You know, and then I've been setting those to come out, you know, after the suns went down, because I figured since I'm recording it's darker, it's a better time to release it rather than releasing them in the day. And so for anybody that's working second shift or something, or gets off in the night and goes to YouTube, well then they might see a thumbnail of me and the camper here with the darkness and be like, oh hey, it's dark here, is this live, let's check it out, you know. I don't know, maybe it's a little more relatable to when I put it out at night, something like this, because some people are up in the night, you know, because their work schedule or whatever, or maybe they just can't sleep and got a lot on their minds. One thing I thought was cool, I seen a thing on a little quote deal, I think it was on Facebook or that. It said that you ever think when you wake up at like 3 a.m. or something like that, you ever think that maybe it's God's way of saying, you know, that maybe you got time to talk to me now or something like that, because we all get so busy, you know. So when you wake up at 3 a.m. you're still at home, that, you know, now you're up, you know, I woke you up so you can talk to me, you know. I think that's kind of cool. Ever since I read that, anytime I wake up in the middle of the night, I don't know if I'm consciously or subconsciously doing it, but I try to think about that kind of, and then I try to acknowledge God right away when I wake up, like, hey Lord, you know. I don't know if that's you waking me up, but if it is, I'm here to talk with you. But I talk to him a lot. I talk to God a lot. And I almost feel like when I'm recording these videos, like I'm talking to God, kind of. Because I'm just sharing who I am. And that's what I do with God. I talk about my life. I talk about what I'm thinking and my concerns and my worries. And I'm doing the same thing here on the camera. So it's kind of like I get to film myself talking to God, but then I'm also addressing you as well, you know. So I want to acknowledge everybody in this situation, you know. Although God takes priority. Sorry. Well, I don't know. I've talked about quite a bit. I hope these videos, that one that cut out, the last one that cut out, I was talking a long time on that one too. So I hope that file didn't get corrupted, because that one had some good stuff in it. But a lot of these are still lasting long. This was another 20 minutes. So matter of fact, I think I'll stop it now. Maybe I'll record once it gets set up in the back and make something to eat that. Holy crap, that thing is sailing across. How's it going that way when the wind shifted? Well, now I'm wondering if I should move again. Now the wind's blowing different. It was going this way. Now it's going that way. Because, yeah, all of a sudden this thing come whipping by. And I'm like, why is that going that way? The wind was going this way. I wonder what's up with that. This car that just came in, I don't know if you've seen it out my window when it came in. I ain't going to bother him now because it's late and it's cold, but I want to talk to him because they pull up by the snowbank over here, and I've seen them do it a couple times, and I don't like it. And I'll be nice about it. I'm going to be real friendly, you know, but they pulled up and they've like emptied their garbage out. Like they throw out pop bottles and this and that right next to this. They did it right after we had snow last time. And then it gets blended in easier. And then when the plows come, they push it all in there. But it still irks me because, like, when it's not snow, that stuff, when it's in the parking lot, well, if people start throwing garbage all around the parking lot, Walmart's going to say, hey, you can't be staying in the lot every night, you know. And I like being able to stay here, and I moved as frequently as I can. Since I've been out of work, I moved less because every time I turn the key, it's burning fuel that I don't know how I'm going to replace, you know, all the time. So I'm a lot more stationary than I have been when I was working. When I was working, I'd move all the time. I wouldn't even, very rarely would I stay 2 nights in a row at one place. You know, I'd constantly move around. But anyway, them people, I want to maybe catch them in the daytime or something, or they stay in their car. But I just want to, and the gas station's like right next door. You know, so instead of throwing your pop, I got to think about. I'll feel them out. I'm pretty good at reading people, but I'll feel them out and in a nice way. Let them know, hey, you know, guys. I don't know if yet. I'll have to say, I don't know if it fell out of your car and you didn't notice, but I picked up some garbage here when you guys pulled out the other day because Walmart's already talked about booting everybody out of here. You know, so I've picked up garbage from other people that I've talked to, that it wasn't them that left the garbage, it was people they were talking to that left garbage over there one time, and I picked up that garbage, some of it, and then somebody left a whole black big garbage bag full of garbage right on one of the little island things right next to a tree, and I'm like, oh, come on, you people, you're gonna put a target on it. And I gotta pick it up because some people might just be passing through from another state or something, but it's still rotten for them to do because there's locals, and that wrecks it for everybody else, you know. So I'm trying to keep that from happening, you know. I was getting booted out here because right now they don't bother us here, and it's nice to be able to stay here. You sleep better knowing you're not going to get a knock, you know, saying, hey, you can't stay here, you know. And because like when I stayed at the library that one time, because I was tired, I edited late and stuff, and I was just whooped, and I just thought, and I sat back on the couch, and I had something going on a tablet, and then I fell asleep sitting back on the couch. Well, then I woke up after dozing off for a while on the couch. I don't even know how long I slept, maybe a half hour or something, that I fell asleep sitting up or whatever. And then I was so tired, I was like, I'm staying here, you know. I laid down, but then I woke up every hour because I was at a government building, and I'm worried that, you know, an officer or something's going to show up, or security or something, knocking on the camper saying, hey, you can't stay here. So I couldn't sleep, you know. I was a restless night, you know, up and down, up and down. And here, because you don't get bothered, I can sleep well here, you know. I mean, I'm still sleep light enough to where, you know, if another car pulls in or a car with a louder muffler goes by, you kind of hear it, but that stuff don't bother me. I'm okay with it. You know, I still keep my body resting. And my karate master, not the master, but karate master, I used to sleep like a rock, man, not hear nothing. He shook that right out of me. He used to attack me in my sleep when we lived together. That was good training for me. And so he taught me how to rest my body and still be alert, you know, but how to be able to rest my body or sleep lighter, so that way, you know, I keyed more. So if I'm sleeping in a different environment or something, or at somebody else's house, I sleep much lighter. Whereas, you know, when you're in your own environment, or if you're in your own house, then you start getting a little more relaxed, you know. But he shook that stuff out of me and got me to sleep a lot lighter. So then it got to where even if he had when he'd attack me in my sleep, I was quick, man. He'd come, I'd be boom, 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 boom. He'd be on top of me. Get up, you little shit. You know, good memories, really good memories. One of my favorites, I stayed over at his place. And he says, yeah, why don't you just stay here tonight, you know? And he was liking my company. Plus, that way, you know, in the morning, we'd have another day together to hang out. And I'm like, all right, you know. So he says, you can watch TV. He says, just keep it down low, because he goes in his room and shuts out the lights. He likes it dark and no noise, you know. And but he says, yeah, just keep the volume down, you know, have it blaring. I said, fine. And because I normally would play it louder though. And so I fall asleep on his couch, and I got the remote laying on my chest with my hand on it, because, you know, I'd have it on my chest, and then I'd change channels or something, and I'd just lay it there. And I fall asleep with it on my chest. Actually, I think I had my left hand on it or whatever. And that was my left hand. Because then in the morning, he gets up at, you know, like 4 or 5 in the morning or something, and he's trying to be all quiet and not disturb me, and get coffee going for himself, because I don't drink coffee, you know. And he's trying to make his coffee and stuff, and trying not to wake me up. And he was going to change the channel on the TV or something because I still had it going. And he reaches over the couch. He's on the back side of the couch. And as he's reaching over, because he had taught me to sleep lighter and stuff, he was trying to be nice and not wake me. So he was going to grab the remote and like slide it out of my hand without waking me up to change the channel or take the remote or whatever. I don't know if maybe he's going to turn the TV off or change the channel. I don't know. But just him lightly touching the remote, I was like, yoink, and I pulled it away and opened my eyes. And right when I pulled it away, this hand came up and, you know, in a guard position. So now I snatched the remote from him, and I'm blocking his hand back, and he looks at me. I think I startled him. And his eyes got big, and he came right over the top of the back of the couch. And he's like, give me that remote, you little shit. And boom, come over the back of the couch. He was a big guy, too. And as he comes over the couch, and I'm like trying to like, he's playing with me. He's trying to grab the remote as I'm blocking his one hand. And as he's coming over the couch, I'm like, as he's coming at me, I'm trying to use his energy because he's a big guy instead of trying to push him back. As he's coming at me, I'm just going to pull him on. If he's coming at me, I'm going to send him on the way. And instead, of course, he's the master, so I ain't sending him on the way. He's got a good hold on me, so it ain't like I can just... I would have had to do it really quick to send him on his way. I would have had to been really fast. But, so we both, as I'm trying to, like, take his momentum and send him along the way, he's trying to get a hold of me, so we're just basically drawing into each other, and we both go rolling right off the couch like a big log together. The coffee table, smash, bang, boom, coffee table goes flying away from the couch. We're on the floor rolling around, and it's, you know, and then we both start laughing while we're doing this, you know. And of course, when you laugh, you get weaker, you know. But then, and it ended real quick. It was just like a quick little thing, you know. And then we both got up, and he was laughing, I was laughing. And I was like, you weren't expecting that, were you? Because, you know, he was trying to get the remote. And because I was so quick with it, he was like, God, that was a great memory. Oh, that was a fun day. Then after that, right away, he got his coffee and sat down at his dining table there. And then I sat down too, and we just laughed a little bit about what we'd just done and started talking about what we were going to do for the day or what we were going to get into. And started joking around a little bit and went about our day. But, yeah, that was a fun memory. I had a lot of fun memories like that. Oh man. Yeah, I hope some of these come back to me more while I'm recording so I can tell some of these good stories. Yeah. I'll have to pull up a picture of him and maybe I can do it for this video. I'll have to pull up a picture, maybe some pictures of him that I can put in the video so you can see my master. Not the master, my martial arts master. Yeah, he was an awesome dude. Very awesome. Yeah. When he went down and got inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame and stuff, that was kind of cool too. And I didn't get to go with for that one, but I'm glad he went and did it. Someday I'll make it down there and I can say, hey, yep, that's my master right there. Yeah, and I got to see cool pictures of a lot of and I got to meet masters he's trained and stuff, and other grandmasters that are in the Hall of Fame, and some of the masters that I trained with that he trained or whatever at their dojos. I got to see cool photographs of some of the famous people that are in martial arts, you know, whether it's Jean-Claude Van Damme or Chuck Norris or whatever, you know, because it's a community, you know, martial arts and stuff. So, you know, sometimes these masters get to meet some of those people or hang out with them. And my master got to hang out with a lot of them. He used to bodyguard for some of them. Yeah, a lot of cool stories there. I don't know how I got in that one. I can't remember, but I guess it happens. But I'm glad it did. It's more of me you can learn, you know. Now if I can just learn how to get rid of this, burn out this gut as I'm older, I don't know how I can do that. I gotta get back to work or something. It'd be nice if I Could be blessed with like some miracle lottery or something. Don't we all kind of wish that sometimes? I would help so many people because I don't need a castle. I don't need no castle. There is a house I like in the area that I like a lot, and I don't know if they want like $400,000 for it or something like that. But it's small. It's really small. It used to be a cabin years ago, and like it was probably somebody's cabin in the '60s or something, you know. And just a neat little place with a little bit of land. It's private, but yet neighbors and everything, but yet private. It is on a busy road, but it's far enough back from the road, and there's enough trees that I think it dampens the sound where you can kind of hear all the cars going by. That'd be a dream come true to get that place. God, I'd like that place so much. I think about it a lot. I really like that place a lot, and I went there. It was big. It was vacant been vacant for a few years, and they've tried selling it and doing different stuff with it, and a different realtor company bought it now. And one realtor company had it now, another realtor company's got it, and then I bummed out. Then it became a rental. Then I was like, oh man, you know, even though I don't have no way to buy it right now, and then when I seen that it was listed as a rental, I was like, oh man. Then like a couple weeks later, the same company that owns it, that's renting it, they also put it on the market. So who knows? Maybe there's still a shot at it somehow. I don't know. I'm an optimist. What can I say? And God can make anything happen. Right, Lord? It'd be a nice house to have. I could really set up shop there. House is super small and cozy. The garage has a nice little office space in it that I could set up a whole studio in. Set up my cameras and stuff. That would be very cool. I would like that. So any of y'all can feel free to pray that happens for me. Anyway, like I was saying about lottery, I don't need no castle. You know, even if I were to win, you know, like $100 million lottery or something like that, I don't need. Who needs that kind of money? You know. Yeah, I'd get that house, and I'd get a couple of toys. And when I say toys, they're toys with a purpose. You know, it's not like just because I want to spend money, like, ooh, I want that. No, I'd get like a plow truck probably, because in Minnesota here we get a lot of snow. And it would be nice to have a plow truck instead of having to shovel or be out in the cold, snow blowing, getting frostbite. You know, it'd be nice to just turn the key and raise and lower the... I got somebody driving around here. Okay, let me see. Over to this side. I got somebody coming to visit me. This happens a lot. And I'm going to stop and start recording again so I can make it another video.